So I was skeptical on the Wizards' defense. So far, it's been really good. And a pretty wild stat is that teams are shooting 29% from three against them so far, which is definitely not going to hold up. But after looking at some of the 3-point misses they've forced, the one thing is they're just closing out really hard, man. Like, look at this. Bradley Beal makes the extra effort to get as close to Chetty Osman as he can without fouling him. And here's a Rubio drive for you. Corey Kispert is ready to help in the paint, which means Lamar Stevens is wide open in the corner. And Corey Kispert just runs like hell to get out to him, man. Now, I do think they're playing with fire with this strategy a bit. We'll see if they can keep it up. But if the closeouts are good, they could hold up. And here's another one where it's going to be Dinwiddie. As Garland gets the screen from Jared Allen, Dinwiddie digs in and then is ready to still get a good closeout. Let's head to the Bucks game. It's a similar thing. Here it's Denny Avdia giving Pat Connaughton a whole lot of space and daring Grayson Allen to make that pass faster than he can close out. Even Montrez got in on the closeout party. It's not the best contest in the world, but at least he put some pressure on George Hill. I think this one's kind of telling as well. So KCP is on Drew with Montrez. And the second Drew turns his back, KCP is making a sprint over to Bobby Portis. And then Beal recognizes that, and then he goes as fast as he can into the corner to get Grayson Allen. And here you get one more. And this one is like really explicit. I mean, they're putting Bobby Portis on an island, and yet Spencer Dinwiddie does an okay job of getting out there to him. The other thing that's going on is they're doing a great job in keeping guys outside of the restricted area. Not a coincidence, they're also allowing the most mid-range attempts in the league. As far as what happens here, well, look how far back Daniel Gafford is. He does not care about Steven Adams at all out here, which allows them to just load up on Ja Morant and force the floater. Now for this one, they load up on Ja like crazy, around right here, and I think they're confident that they can get a good closeout if he kicks it out to a shooter. What ends up happening is he goes to a floater. And as for their offense, honestly, dude, it's somebody different every game. There, it's Raul Neto, kick out to Kuzma. And here's the last two Kuzma threes. Look how much he relocated for this one, looking like Ray Allen or something, flying around the court to get open. And then, of course, the big one, the real big one, they just left him and then some. Mobley was like, I am going to defend the rim, and that's that. And then Rubio had to get the closeout, and, well, there you go from Kuz. But Montrez was huge as well. He had 24. Here's a floater off of a screen for Dinwiddie. Here's a similar thing. Screen for Dinwiddie, bounce pass, and he had to go into Mobley's chest. That's like the one way to score on Mobley. You basically just have to push him out of the way. As for the Bucks game, you got normal Bradley Beal. He was like 14 for 22 from the field. Turnaround over Grayson Allen. And handoff from Neto into a screen for Montrez. In and out, gets through Thanasis and over George Hill. If we rewind back to the second game of the season, it was Spencer Dinwiddie with 34. I should say with Dinwiddie, while he hasn't had huge point totals in every game, and in a couple games his efficiency's been a little rough, I do think he's been a pretty big positive for this team. Anyway, moving on from the Wiz, Cade Cunningham just had his best game as a pro. And he had 20 points on some pretty damn good efficiency, including 4 for 8 from outside. So all the John Beeline haters are quiet for tonight. With his biggest basket being this one where he powers through Jayshawn Tate on a screen into a spin move. As for his number one fan, Jalen Green, we got to see some acrobatics from him. That one over Trey Lyles. Between the legs dribble, he busts out right in the middle of the whole thing. Kelly Olynyk and Killian Hayes reaching in on him and stuff. Now let's go to whatever the hell the fourth quarter of Lakers Heat was. We will notice 3 shooters, Russ and AD, 2-man game. What ends up happening? Well, there's no one in AD's way, so we can get an alley-oop. Here's a nice action for you. Shout out to Frank Vogel. As Anthony Davis cuts, Melo jets out, which forces PJ Tucker to have that split second of, oh crap, what do I do? Which gives Russ just enough time to give Melo a relatively open look. And then it was the Malik Monk show. He had like 21 points or something wild in this game. He definitely has a higher ceiling as a scorer than a lot of the Lakers' shooting guard possibilities. And here was the other one where he had to bail him out of this possession. He's got Tyler Hero all over him. Bam is there for a moment on him. Okay, if it goes in, it goes in. And Miami's offense had a tougher time in the fourth quarter. Even then, they still had chances to win this one. But here we get AD blocking off Lowry and then shifting his hips well enough to not foul Bam and contest the shot. For this one, AD does pretty much nothing, but they got lucky and Lowry just missed. Another good defensive possession as AD forces Lowry baseline, and Lowry's going to claim he got fouled. Now on to the Celtics game, because I just had to do this real quick, I'm sorry. Jason Tatum had 7 assists, and they won by like 20. With my favorite one perhaps being this one. Spin move on Boucher, Marcus Smart's cutting, Tatum's barely looking at him. We also got peak Time Lord. He had 8 offensive rebounds. Anthony Edwards had 48. Here's one of those Edwards Town screens they were running a lot last season. Got to see a layup, and now we get to see Anthony Edwards' signature shot, in my opinion, which is a 3-pointer with a guy in his face. This is another interesting set. We get Edwards moving on the handoff into a Karl Anthony Towns screen, which allows him to build up momentum to the rim. Now, even with Edwards playing well, of course, the Wolves still lost. They're now 3-7, and it's weird because they obviously have talent, and I think they got better going from Saunders to Chris Finch. I don't know, man.